Good morning, everyone. Russ Laggan here from a hotel in California, but not the Hotel California. Thankfully, I woke up fine this morning. It is August 5th. I don't even know what day it is. It is September 5th. Holy crap, I just lost another month. It's September 5th. And by the way, outside Detroit, my house, this leaves are going to start flying by the end of the month. So I'm kind of excited for fall, but I'm not really super thrilled about what comes after that. So for you, those of you in the north, get ready. Here it comes. For those of you in the south, you're not participating in winter. I think that's a smarter way to go. So California, not participating in winter either. So thankfully, I'm here in California, and I'll get to spend more time here in California with that. So today, we've got a great show lined up for you. You've got, of course, Holly Mabery is going to talk about Brokerage Update. Ian Wheatley is going to talk about KGCI. We got Leo has a great little interview snip that you guys are going to want to check out, a preview of a great session you guys are going to want to see. And then we have a couple of other pieces and parts to help you guys take your business and put your business into the next level for the rest of the year. We're 4 months. September, October, November, December, 4 months left, guys. Right now is when you are setting up for next year. So the things you do today and the things you do next month and the things you do in November are what's setting up a good January, February, March. A lot of people talk about, hey, man, Russ, like January, February, always slow. I'm like, no, you got slow, right? So do not slow down as you go to the end of the year. By the way, in October, 25% of realtors stop working for the year. In November, another 25% stop working. And by December, another 25% stop working, which means 75% of realtors aren't working at all in the month of December. So those are the ones that struggle in January, February. So for you guys, and you need to start attracting people and start adding value. So let's talk attraction advantage. And by the way, if you guys haven't caught this yet, we have an Attraction Advantage podcast. Frank Panunto and I do a podcast every single week. We've been bringing people in talking about agent attraction on a weekly basis. So you can catch that on Spotify, grab it on your local podcast, type in Attraction Advantage podcast, and you can type in Russ Laggan, Frank Panunto, and it should be able to pop up nice and easy for you. So with that said, Attraction Advantage tip of the week. So this is a thing, guys. I was talking about this yesterday here in California, is we've got to make sure we're making connections, right? If you want to build your business, whether it's the selling homes business or it is the attracting agents business, you've got to start showing up. You got to start connecting with people. So the people that are more connected with you are more likely to say, hey, tell me more about what you're doing. Tell me more about what you guys do. Tell me more about how I can take my business to the next level. And then the next thing I want you guys to do is I want you to always make it about them. Yeah, always make it about them. When you're at a listing appointment, when you're with a buyer, when you're with an agent talking about attraction, I want you to make it about them. Get very genuinely interested in their path. I just saw a post on social media this morning and I responded to it because I have to. It drives me crazy when I see these posts, so I have to respond to them because somebody's got to be the voice of reason. A person says, hey, I'm looking to move my brokerage to a different brokerage. Where should I go? And then there's a litany of people like, you should go to EXP, you should go to LPT, you should go to Epic, you should go to here, you should go to there, you should go to there. And my response was, anybody making a suggestion on where you should go without asking you what your path is and where you want your business to be and what you want it to look like and the type of business you want to do is not making a suggestion based on your best interest. They're making a suggestion based on their best interest, particularly in these style companies like we are in with EXP. These style brokerages, a lot of people sometimes will go out and they're looking out for themselves, right? Like everybody should be here. No. Not everybody should be here. We want the right people here. So we need to get in with them. It's like, where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? How are you trying to get there? And if we get into them and what they want and then propose what we can solve for that with the tools that we have, and by the way, we can solve most of them, okay? With the tools that we have, make it about them and getting them to where they want to go. People react completely differently to that. So I want you to start thinking anytime somebody asks you about anything, how do you make it about them? If you make it about them and them getting what they want, you're going to have people that are stepping to you instead of you chasing them and chasing them and chasing them and chasing them and trying to tuck them in a headlock and noogie them into submission. I want people taking steps towards you. I want people wanting to embrace you. And the best way to do that is to make it about them. So there's your Attraction Advantage tip of the week. Get real personal, make connections, and make it about them. All right, next up, we have Ian Wheatley, KGCI Radio. He's got an update for what's coming up at KGCI. Take it away, Ian.
Thanks, Russ. Good morning. If you caught this week's Real Estate On Air Live, you already know that we went deep with Coach John Kitchens on how you could bulletproof your business.
I think that's the first step to bulletproofing anything is you got to bulletproof yourself first. It's the whole oxygen mask, concept, why you put yours on first, because if not, then you're no good to anybody else. And so if you're not showing up the best version of you, then there's no way the business is going to be the best version that it can possibly be.
Now, I get it. You're already grinding out here. You're already hustling and you're thinking to yourself, Ian, what else could I possibly be doing? But John reminds us that if you're not showing up as the best version of you, there's no way that your business can be the best version that it can be. That's why today's Friday Focus on KGCI Real Estate On Air is all about moving from survival to scale. We're putting John's framework into practice step by step so you can actually build a business that's going to last. You'll also be hearing from Ricky Caruth, from Real Estate B School founder Lars Hedenborg, and yeah, even EXP Elevate coach Brandon Brittingham's getting in the mix too. It's all happening all day today and on demand for you tomorrow. And then next week on Wealth Wednesday, Brandon's going to be back with us with Expand Investing, showing you how you could start stacking up wealth beyond your closing. So scan the code and download the always free KGCI Real Estate On Air mobile app for iPhone and Android, or subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, because survival isn't the goal. Scaling is. Tune in today, right after the big agent meeting, only on KGCI Real Estate On Air.
All right, so there you go. Ian Wheatley, always KGCI Radio's got great stuff for you guys. Make sure you tune in. I jumped on there off my Spotify yesterday with my earbuds in and got my steps in. We got a step challenge going with the growth team, and I don't want to be the guy with the lowest number of steps, right? So I got out there at 9:30 last night, just pounding it out on the pavement and listening to a podcast series from KGCI. So great stuff you guys have. All right, next up, Brokerage Brief with Holly Mabery. Holly, take it away.
Every week I do a lot of research in preparation for this time together. And what's so important to me is making sure that I'm giving you the best of everything I can find, but also action items that you can incorporate in your business. Now, this was a stat that absolutely caught me off guard. And yes, AI is definitely everywhere we turn. Many people are using AI over Google searches anymore. I know I am. And a lot of the AI that we've lived with for years, it's been on recommendations from what restaurants we might like to even movies or television shows we watch from streaming services. But this is something I want you to be aware of. 39% of buyers are actually using generative AI in their search process in home buying. Now, what does that really mean? Well, generative AI is not just kind of that intuitive, like, hey, what will happen next kind of thing. It actually is walking people through the process and helping them make decisions. It's on everything from selecting a lender, maybe doing homework as far as qualification and what they might like as far as lifestyle. But this is what's more interesting. Buyers are more educated and getting much more logical. And yeah, I'm going to paint myself into a little bit of a dated kind of scenario. Back in my day, when I was working with buyers a whole lot, you could tell when they were really feeling a house because they walked into it and they were like, oh, it just feels good. What's interesting in the market right now, and we've been talking about it the last few weeks, is buyers are really more logical. They're making business decisions where this has really been traditionally an emotional decision in home buying. They have to move. They want to move. They're having a baby. They got a new job. They're getting a divorce, all of those types of things. And so as a result, like how you and I show up in the process is also evolving. See, buyers are expecting faster, smarter responses. And when I say smarter, it's not that we know everything. We just know how to get the information, but they're also testing us that we also know the information. And so how we move our role from just information purveyors to actually gatherers and kind of decipherers of that information, what it actually means to this family at this time for these properties, that makes a difference. And the tech savvy buyer, they are really up and coming. And that 39%, by the way, it's higher when you look at younger generations. Now, what I want you to think of is that mindset shift. What's so important right now is the old mindset is I provide the information. I was the end all be all, maybe the alpha and omega, if you will. But our new mindset, and this is really where I want you to start to drive down to what it is that you and I do in our value proposition. It comes down to I provide context, strategy, and outcomes. See, you're delivering on the promise of, but also while AI delivers data, you deliver the meaning, you help decipher the code. It's one of those things like back in the day, especially with Google, my goal was to be what people couldn't Google. I could read between the lines. I could give them the infrastructure beyond what just was a simple Google search. Well, AI is getting a little bit better, but think of it this way. It may be able to tell you, hey, this is in a flood zone, but I can tell you that when the rain comes down at certain times during a monsoon storm, this road absolutely floods, even though this house is not in a flood zone. Does that make sense? When you start to think of how AI shows up in our life, it gives that surface level information today, but it's getting better. And that market knowledge that you have historically makes a huge difference. Now, I want you to be that translator. See, there's so much noise. We have so much data. It can get overwhelming, especially when you have people using maybe ChatGPT or different AI programs, and they're also doing searches on Zillow or they've set up through MLS. They've got all of this coming at them. And of course, meaning family members. How do you help them sort what's important? And these come down to questions that you ask, how you decipher what makes the most sense. And at the end of the day, you're that calm guide. You are walking beside them through this transaction. You're asking meaningful questions of what's important to their family. How do they like to live? When they think of their lifestyle, not just today, but over the course of the next 3, 5, 10 years, what does it look like for them living in this property? And how would it go as they move forward in their life? Like they don't have kids today, but maybe they're looking to have a baby in the next couple of years. That's a lifestyle change. They don't have a dog today, but they want to get a puppy at Christmas. Okay, fenced yard, all of those types of things become very, very important. In that mindset shift, it really helps us kind of dial in what buyers expect because they're really looking at logic first. There's emotion to what's happening, like they're having an event happen in their life. And so it's all of these things packaged in one, but you and I showing up and providing proof, clarity, statistics, data, and actually helping them interpret the data makes all the difference. And yes, the answers have to come faster. And this is where I absolutely love Fixer AI on my email. I know that EXP, we've given that to all of our agents. And if you haven't signed up for it, please do, because Fixer AI is one of those tools that allows us to respond to emails very, very quickly. It allows us to sort those emails, and it could save you up anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour a day, which is awesome. When you also think about how we work with buyers, it's really about the outcome. It's that promise of delivery. So your ability to package things tightly for people makes all the difference in the world. Educated buyers are expecting an outcome. They're paying for it, right? You've signed the buyer broker agreement. You've earned the right to represent them, and you're going to get compensated. As a result, how we show up and what it looks like makes all the difference. So there are a few things that I want you to consider before you do showings. Use AI to prep your comps and anticipate objections. So be running everything through. Like I'm working with a buyer. This is their needs and wants. This is what they've told me they need. And that's part of a strategy session you're having with your buyers, right? When you're signing the buyer broker, you're talking about their needs and wants. You're talking about maybe experiences they've had in the past, but you're putting that together in such a way that also now you're running comps on potential properties you're going to go show. They're going to be looking at Zillow. They're going to be looking at AI. Is this property worth it? Great. Are you prepared? Have you done those same things? And so as a result, I want you to be so prepared that, hey, if AI says this, but you also know other information that helps them kind of overcome like what they should offer or strategies in the market, that makes a difference. And I also want you, again, be more than they can Google, be more than they can ask ChatGPT. You're pulling together that context that they just can't find online. Things that you know because you sold that house before, or you've been in that neighborhood, you knew the previous owners. All of those things make a huge difference in that buyer experience. Now, as you start to look at during and after, during the conversations, I always want to be asking, hey, are you looking or optimizing for, right? Are you looking at payment? Are you looking at building equity? Is this about lifestyle? Tell me what's important to you. And you're always going to be summarizing those neighborhoods and the comparables in that plain language. You never want to use like inside realtor speak. Don't use abbreviations or anything like that, because it makes people crazy. They think they know what you're talking about, but they don't. And it's like a spoken hidden language. So just be yourself. Tell people what to expect. And then the logic that you balance with the insights that you have, because now people are telling you about their needs. It's very personal. You can balance that with, hey, we see that the price point is here. We think we can offer this amount. Maybe the seller will pay some closing costs. We can negotiate in this way because the house has been on the market this many days. These are opportunities for you to really kind of leverage your market knowledge and skill set. Now, then I want you to follow up after the showing and look at other things that maybe you didn't get a chance to talk about. This is where we're getting into the insurance conversation, homeowners of fees, zoning. Hey, do you want to put in a pool? Are you looking to put in an extra garage? You know, all of those types of things. If you're pulling that and you're providing that to the buyer, it's a follow-up after the service of things that they didn't even know or think about until they stepped away, but you were listening, and that makes a huge difference. Now, when you start to go down this path, it becomes this skill sharpening. And this is where I really want you to think about these things in context. AI literacy is really important. And so I want you to, if you haven't already, put ChatGPT on your phone. And it could be Gronk or it could be Perplexity, like whatever you want to use. Please put it on your phone and replace your Google search with that. Interact with it daily. Download Fixer AI on your Gmail. It makes a huge difference. I'm using it daily on mine, and it has saved me a lot of time. And just get comfortable there. But know the tools that buyers are using. And if you're not quite sure, great. Ask ChatGPT. What does that look like? The next thing I want you to do is plan on telling the story of your neighborhood or your market area. Give stats, but give them in a video kind of conversation, just like we're doing here, in 60 seconds or less. I want you to get so comfortable in shooting videos, uploading those to your social media or your LinkedIn, or sending it out in mass text where you're like, hey, let me tell you about what's going on in this neighborhood or this zip code and some of the hot things that are happening right now. And I'm going to give you 3 stats in the next 30 seconds. That's fantastic and powerful. People are relating to you. They know it's real. They know it's really you. They can hear your voice. It makes a difference. The other thing I want you to brush up on now, because this is such a skills market, is how are you updating your negotiating strategies, right? Like, so you want to have data supporting maybe the price that you're offering for a buyer in their contract, but then also other concessions, right? Because it's not just about price. It could be terms, conditions, time. As a result, if you're pulling comps and you know that the house might be overpriced, your buyer's offering a little bit less, they're asking for some concessions, and oh, by the way, they're giving the seller some flexibility on time, that becomes a really good negotiating strategy for not just your buyer, but how you're communicating to the other agent. See, those counter data, those opportunities to really dial in makes a huge difference. I also want you to think about scripts. Now, this is where you can use ChatGPT a whole lot. We've been teaching scripts since I got into the business in '98, and you can go back and you can look at, you know, millions and millions of different scripts from every great coach and trainer that has been in the business. What I want you to think about now is if you were to ask ChatGPT, hey, this is the kind of client I'm working with. These are the kinds of properties we're looking for. This is the offer strategy that we're thinking of implementing. What kinds of scripts should I be using? What kinds of things should I be saying that are completely relatable, knowing that the market is this? Anytime you are engaging ChatGPT at that level, it makes a difference. And finally, I want you to look at your workflow. What is your process for taking care of somebody? And I will say this, I have built my own ChatGPT for our team here at EXP. That way, if they can't get a hold of me, they're asking it questions. So it's basically SVP in their pocket. It allows them to ask more detailed questions about forms or trainings, what's going on with NAR, as well as policies within EXP. And I update it every week. When you look at how you work, how you're running, could you use a ChatGPT to help members of your team, maybe your transaction coordinator or your buyer's agent? Those are opportunities to really kind of update your processes, what would be easier in your workflow that becomes more meaningful. And then I want you to start to work as that indispensable partner. Our buyers are more sophisticated than ever. They have access to volumes of information at their fingertips that they couldn't possibly read in a day or a year. And that's coming at them every second. So as a result, how you adapt right now to AI is going to be huge. I want you to offer more than just information. I want you to package the data that serves the client at that higher level. And that means getting to know the client. Ask those questions that are meaningful. That's that get to know you. It's that strategy conversation where you're earning their trust by asking about them and their family, and their needs, their goals. Where do they want to be? Anytime you're providing that strategic guidance, it's going to help making more meaningful connection. And some people, they're like, hey, I want an investment property. I want to close in the next 45 days. I'm paying cash. This is what's meaningful to me. Great. That's cut and dried. But for a first-time home buyer or someone who's looking at stepping down and this is their last purchase, maybe ever in their life, it's a big deal. So the more you and I know when it comes to how we can leverage AI, because our buyers are 39% and growing, that's pretty significant. I love giving you tools and tips, but here's a book recommendation. The AI Driven Leader. I've already read it twice this year, and it's not because I'm slow. It actually had some really good practical tips and things when you're engaging ChatGPT or any of the other open AI bots or things like that, whether it's Gronk or whoever you like to use. I really want you to dig into some of these prompts. Some of them help me be better. And one that I just picked up today that I really, really liked was asking ChatGPT, ask me one question at a time. So that way you can think about, okay, help me deploy a strategy for this buyer doing this. Ask me one question at a time to dial in my best strategy. And it becomes that conversation. When you look at how you and I embrace technology, how we go forward, it's only going to get better, but we have to do it together. Thanks, guys. I hope this is helpful.
All right, there you go. Holly Mabery, thank you very much for that. We always love the fact that you're keeping us up to speed on what we need to know to keep the business running smooth and what's going on in the back end of the business. So thank you very much for that. All right, so next up we have real estate success stories with Leo Pareja and Jeff Sutherland. Leo and Jeff had a nice conversation. You guys want to check out this clip? Check it out now.
And how was that early process, and what about it was the interesting part?
Yeah, so when I first joined, and this was after I spent 5 years growing my whole company called United Brokers Group in Chandler. I grew that from 0 agents to 250 agents in 5 years. I'm sorry, 6 years. So I grew that, and at that point, my partner and I basically went separate ways. We sold our shares, and then I spent a few years in title. So I was researching, and when I was in title, I was like, gosh, I'm really missing real estate. You know, it's like when you love real estate, you love real estate. So I was like, who do I get back involved with? So I finally found EXP is the one. But then I was still kind of into the job thing. I had a license with EXP and I was working for a title company, and I really wasn't all in. Huge mistake. This was back in 2018. I wasn't going all in because I still had my security blanket with that high paying job in the title world. So I didn't really start working hard in EXP until probably the middle of 19. And that's where I decided, you know what? I've been in management my whole life, my whole career. I'm going to get out and sell some houses. And I wanted to make sure I wasn't a fraud with myself, right? I didn't want to teach something to somebody if I hadn't been in the seat. So it was great. I went all in. I was selling a bunch of houses. I became a mentor in the company, and I was like focused on being the best practitioner I could be. And it was really kind of a gratifying experience. So that's at the beginning. That's how I kind of launched when I was with EXP.
And so, how do you balance? Because what I like about when I look at your business, it's a really good balance between personal production and also revenue share. And again, sometimes we see team leaders, and I say it to them all the time, like, who put up these big numbers, and I'm like, but what's your net? What are you taking home? And what kind of liability do you carry every month? Like, right, if you have a big team and you have space and payroll, um, I feel that when I do one-on-one calls with team leaders, I feel like most of the time I'm coaching them to shrink down a little bit. It's like, look, I've talked to team leaders who are doing, 150 million, 100, 200 units. But after asking some probing questions, they're still doing 60, 70% of the units, and they have 50 people on their team. I'm like, your life would be simpler if you went from 50 to 10, and your net would probably stay the same. And, maybe you'd have some time off because you weren't babysitting folks. Talk to me about how you think through that.
Yeah, it's such a great question, Leo. It's, like you said, it's not what you make, it's what you net. And I can honestly tell you, like at 5:30 at night, 6 sometimes, I shut it down. I get to spend time with my wife. I'm an empty nester, and it's like when I was raising my kids, I always put a premium on balance. And I've got 2 amazing kids that are adults that are just killing out in the world. So I have a very tight calendar. If you were looking at my calendar, it's probably very similar to yours. Everything that's dollar productive is green. And I have a very high expectation of myself every day that I'm going to hit the big rocks. And I'm always spending about 10 hours a week on growth, agent growth. And then the rest of the time I'm spending on production and coaching agents in my organization. I would much rather have a larger rev share organization than a large team. I have no interest in it because, I would rather have a small team and have a good net and go out there and do my production at a moderate level and cherry pick the ones that I want and hand the other ones off to my business partner, who's basically my buyers and listing agent. So I've taken him from the beginning. First year, he sold 14 houses. Now his second year, after being a brand new agent, he's going to be an icon. He's right on track to be an icon. So to me, I'm a developer of people. I've always done that. If I identify talent, I know how to take them through the process to be an amazing leader. And that's where I'm at right now, right? I have like about 5 generals in my group. I'm really focused on them to help them win. And that's what I love about our model. I have a lot of balance, which I like.
So talk through the agent who has 0 people but wants to do it, right? And again, it's all about what you want. So I never want people to think, I need you to do this. It's like, no, because most of the time the conversation with me goes, hey, I want to add this. Like I see this. It's kind of like my Achilles heel. I'm great at production, but I haven't dialed it in. What walk me through the 0 to 1 process in your opinion.
Yeah. First of all, the 2 things I always tell agents, I said, if you want to be a great attractor, you have to be attractive. And how you become attractive is you become the best version of yourself possible, number 1. And number 2, you need to learn the company. And quite honestly, we have so much to offer here, far more than any other company I know of. Most people have not really done a deep dive on everything there is in this company. So when you learn all the things that we have, then conversations are so much easier when you talk to agents, because you're thinking about, okay, that's their pain point. I can help them, with something. I can add value to them, and I'm not attached to the outcome. So, and that's a key thing. That's another thing about recruiters in general is I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm attached to helping them, whether they come to EXP or not. And people appreciate that. And that's why I win big agents over the long haul. Sometimes it might take me a year, 2 years. I brought on the managing broker in EXP Arizona, and she's fantastic. Her name's Kathy Swan. She used to work for me in a company that I owned, United Brokerage Group. It took me 3 years to bring her over. And now she's, I think, one of the best brokers we have in the system.
Yeah, so absolutely. I get great feedback about her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So I want to hear it. What you've done that deep dive. How do you think through what parts of the opportunity? Because I will. So before you answer that, I will give a critique of where I think agents fall down. Is for the folks inside of our organization, they know every nook and cranny of the value proposition. And when somebody raises their hand and says, "I'm curious" or "I'm opening to listing," we're like, sometimes some of us are overly excited, and it's like, and I'm like, hold on. Like, how do you work through? What parts do you share? Where do you start? Walk me through that process.
Yeah, it's when you first start trying to attract people, you verbally vomit on people. because you're excited. You're pumped about the opportunity. So if I can get people to slow down their mind a little bit and ask questions, right? The power is in the question, right? So, how, if you don't mind me asking, how you doing with your goals this year? People will tell you everything if you just build trust and ask them questions. And sometimes they'll be like, well, are you trying to recruit me? Actually, I'm not. I go, let's just take EXP off the table. You can't join EXP today. It's not allowed. Let's just get to know each other. I'd like to have at the minimum a referral partner, and there's no harm in building relationships. Wouldn't you agree? So I'm into building relationships and helping them and asking questions. And then kind of when I ask questions, they're going to share a lot of information. Then my mind starts thinking, what can I do for them? How can I help them? How can I give them some articles or techniques, some skills? I have a mastermind here in Gilbert, Arizona every Tuesday, broker agnostic. We invite everybody. And I tell people this is not about recruiting. I tell the people that are in my group, if somebody comes in, this is not about recruiting. We can talk about that after the meeting if they wanted to talk about it, but it's a safe place. So I just want people to know when they work with me, they're going to produce more real estate, period.
All right, there you go. Leo and Jeff doing their thing. By the way, if you guys don't know Jeff, he is an amazing human being. I love that guy. He's out there doing stuff, getting stuff done, puts his head down, and he actually really cares about people and people's success, which I think is a big part of his success. So if you want to see the rest of that story, you want to see the rest of that podcast, check out the Real Estate Success Stories, Leo Pareja. It's available on YouTube. It's super easy to find. If you just go in there, type it in the search at the top, you'll be able to find that and watch the rest of that show. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Check out the rest of it on YouTube. All right, Agent Advantage is Realty.com. So take it away. Tell us what Realty.com is all about. Go.
Hey everyone, Donnie Crouch here, Vice President of Sales with Realty.com. First and foremost, I want to thank EXP for having us and being a partner of Realty.com. Now, first I want to start off with a question to every agent out there, which is, if you were able to get in front of sellers at the right place, right time in their journey, how different would your business look? Right? When you're able to weed out all of the looky-loos, the people that are just curious, and get in front of people that have real intent. Now, I'm sure I know what you're thinking. Myself being a realtor, I would think the same thing. I've tried everything under the moon and stars, right? But what ends up happening? I have to chase around dead leads for months, if not years on end. Now, at Realty.com, we've heard everybody's struggle when it comes to generating high intent seller leads, which is why we've created the Seller Lead program here. Now, what does that look like? Oftentimes what we have seen, if you're generating seller leads yourselves, I know that I've seen it personally, the issue becomes generating things such as home valuation leads, right? Or people that are just kind of curious about their property. What happens as a result of that is you're chasing around people that have no intent to sell. So the first problem that we solve there is finding people that are raising their hand, requesting cash offers on their property. Now, the nice thing with this is, well, really, there's a number of things, but first and foremost is you have the ability to create your own custom tailored plan, specific to you, specific to your needs. So each one of these sellers, they're going to go through a long form questionnaire, no more just giving name, phone number, and email. They're going to answer things like their motivation for selling, their timeline for selling, how much their property is worth, if they're looking to list, a bunch of different questions about their specific circumstance. Now, you, the agent, have the ability to not only generate these long-form questionnaire leads, but you also have the ability to filter them to your specific needs. As an example, let's say you are working in 5 or 6 different zip codes, right? And you want to generate seller leads over a certain price range that meet a custom set criteria list, people that are looking to sell within 6 months, people that have some sort of motivation to move. We can deliver on all of that. Now, in addition to this, I'm sure a lot of you guys have been through the ringer with long-term agreements, commitments to programs that ultimately don't work for you. With the Realty.com seller program, there are no long-term commitments. It is a month-to-month program that will only charge you based upon leads that we deliver that meet your custom set criteria. In addition to many back-end features to scrub the leads, such as title verification, as well as our call center to actually warm up leads and live transfer them directly to you. Now, ultimately, what we want to do is create a custom tailored plan specific to you guys. And so what we want to offer today is the ability to meet with myself directly, go through your specific needs, what types of sellers that you're wanting for your business, so that we can deliver and get you in front of more people that are actively looking to sell their home. So there's going to be a link provided for you guys. In addition to this, we're going to provide you guys with a 25% discount for anybody who signs up. But again, feel free to grab some time on my calendar. Look forward to meeting all of you guys. And I want to thank eXp as well as every single eXp agent for being a partner of Realty.com.
All right, so there you go. Now you know Realty.com, what they do, how they do it, why they do it. And if you guys want to check out more about that, of course, just type in Realty.com and you can go direct to them, of course. A great agent solution for you guys to make sure you got the best in your business. Okay, next up, one of my favorite people in the world, Alyssa Specht with University Spotlight. She's going to tell you what's coming on in University. Take it away, Alyssa.
What's up, big agent meeting? Alyssa Specht here, and it's time to get your calendar locked in because this week at eXp University, it's all about systems. We've got some smiles, and we're talking about scaling up. So let's break it down because you're not going to want to miss this. So starting on Monday, we've got Level Up with Makeba Evans. We're talking about smiling, dialing, and repeat. Makeba Evans is a Metro Atlanta rock star. She's showing you how to prospect with confidence and a little bit of joy using her Smile Dial system. So again, that's Monday, Level Up. Do not miss it. But now let's look at Thursday with another amazing executive masterclass. Our weekly power hour is back, people. Every Thursday, top EXP leaders, they drop real strategy, market insight, and growth tools to help you elevate your business. But we're not done. Back on Friday is Dylan Nanaka with the Lab podcast. So he's going to share his journey from the Marine Corps to EXP leadership, how he turned a small leadership team into a statewide force. If you are serious about leadership and longevity, this is your blueprint. Guys, tag your team, block your time, and I'll see you there.
All right, there you go. Now you know University's always got the best stuff for you guys every single week. They've got crazy, amazing stuff going on by top agents around the country. So you get the best of the best with the most modern stuff, not something that was taught 15 years ago. And they're still retreading the same thing over and over and over. You got modern stuff going on now, and University has those featured every single week. So thank you, Alyssa, for that update. All right, so there you go. That is the show for September. Got it right. September 5th, 2025. And by the way, here's a QR code. If you guys would like, just jump in, pop that QR code, give us a rating, a scale of 1 to 10. Let us know how we did. If you liked what we did today and you're liking the new format, make sure you give us a great score. And then if you have any suggestions, don't hesitate to put those in also. Okay, that is the show for September 5. And stay tuned for iConversations coming up next. I will see you guys next week from Phoenix.